Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams lead the Oklahoma City Thunder, and this organization has had one of the most successful rebuilds in recent memory. Moving away from Russell Westbrook and Paul George in 2019, OKC brought in a number of different pieces to help them move into a new future. Since their first season after these big moves, they have blazed past expectations, and with SGA developing to an MVP level player, Holmgren being a top rookie, and J-Dub continuing his impressive play from his rookie year into year two, as well as a number of other key contributors, the OKC Thunder have been one of the NBA's best teams this season, as one of the league's youngest teams. I'm sure, like many other fans, I've had no choice but to pay closer attention to the squad. So let's take a look at the players that make this team who they are. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the main act for the show in Oklahoma City. And I've heard about how good the Thunder guard is over the last few seasons, but as someone that really hasn't watched the Thunder a whole lot until this season, I'm really just learning how good he truly is, and has quickly become one of my favorite players to watch. He's part of a handful of players averaging 30 or more points per game this season. SGA possesses extremely valuable traits that have helped him from a player with potential in LA to one of the best players in the association. First, we can look at his ability to finish at the rim, which is near the top of the league. Shai was one of the most frequent drivers last season, sitting at number 1 in drives to the basket per contest, with almost 4 more than second place, and he was number 1 in total drives as well, across 68 games played. And we have seen much more of the same this season, as he always seems to find himself in the lane, playing at his own pace as well as using his body and his above average height for a point guard all allow him to get to the rim and finish, and he's one of the most effective guys around the basket in the league. And one of the most fun to watch in my opinion, with just how impressive his slashing and finishes are time and time again. And we know how impactful this is for any offense. SGA also knows how to get to the free throw line and converts his free throws at a very high rate because of this slashing ability. The second trait that helps the first team All NBA guard average as much as he does is his mid range shooting. Again, his pace helps him get these looks, and his height helps him convert these attempts at such a high rate. He is number 1 in the NBA in efficiency for guys who take at least 4 mid range shots per game. And being able to play in the zone is not only aesthetically pleasing, in my opinion, for any player, but is also so valuable, especially come playoff time. SGA is definitely more of a scorer than a passer, but he is still a good passer, averaging around 6 assists per game, and his drives give OKC so many opportunities as defenses understand just how dangerous he is coming downhill. He can finish at the basket and play in the mid-range at league high levels, but he hasn't quite been a 3-level scorer, as a guy who hasn't taken or made a lot of threes over the last few seasons. But over the last several games, he has been much better, which is very scary. And this is an improvement I really want to see continue going forward. The mid-range shot isn't out of style like a lot of people try and make it seem, and being a threat at the rim is something that will forever be important in basketball. But with the three-point shot being as important as it is in today's game, Shai developing a reliable three ball will make him pretty much an unstoppable scorer, if he isn't that already, as a guy averaging over 30 a game for the second year in a row. And if this keeps up, this type of 3-level scoring is exciting for the Thunder and their fans, but terrifying for opposing teams and their fans who have to watch SGA torch their teams even worse than he already has been. SGA knows how to be a bother on the defensive end as well, and this mainly shows up with steals and deflections, leading the league for both categories. And he was number 2 amongst guards last season for total blocks. Over the last few years, SGA has become one of the best players in the NBA, earning first team All NBA honors last season, and he was only 25 with so many more years to come. Chet Holmgren was drafted number 2 overall in 2022 by OKC out of Gonzaga, and he had the same appeal as a lot of guys in the modern day, a taller player with some skills you expect from a guard. And after missing his entire first season with a foot injury, he has been that and more, leading the Rookie of the Year race. The skill that probably sticks out the most for Chet is his shot blocking ability, blocking almost 3 shots a game in year 1. We know how important a big is for any defense. They are the foundation, and everything builds from inside. Chet is number 2 in the league for most shots defended at the rim per game. And out of players that defend at least 7 shots at the rim each game, Chet makes guys miss at the 6th best percentage, near seasoned defenders like Anthony Davis and three-time Defensive Player of the Year Rudy Gobert, and he is only 21 years old. On the offensive side of the ball, again, Chet has been as good as advertised, if not better, and he has impressed thus far. He has been able to put it all together in his rookie season. He's shooting well from the field, from three, from the line, pretty much everywhere. First of all, Chet of course brings value in the paint because of his height as a 7-footer. The big thing with him, of course, is filling out his frame and becoming bigger for the future. If he can add weight, and I'm sure he'll be able to, he'll be much more effective down low and when it comes to backing down defenders. Chet has also been great on threes, shooting over 40% and over 45% on catch and shoot threes, which is amazing for the OKC offense, having that sort of big man floor spacer. He can also hit his mid-range shots. The most exciting part of the rookie's offensive game, in my opinion, is his self-creation. He does an impressive job at putting the ball on the floor and getting to the rim, and he has a really great touch as well, which helps him right now because he can't always get all the way to the basket. Again, Chet has been able to put it all together in his first season playing in the pros, and what we have seen is extremely promising for a guy who hasn't even played half of a season yet. I'm excited to see how he continues to develop and just how good he can become. Jalen Williams was picked 12th overall in the same draft as Chet, and he is yet another promising player for the OKC Thunder. J-Dub is a 3-level scorer with an improving overall game. Since his rookie season, Williams has shown an ability to get to and finish around the rim. He has a slick handle and a step that helps him shake defenders and get past them, and he has a frame that allows him to finish through contact. Just in year 2, he has shown great improvement specifically with his scoring maturity, getting to his spots in the mid-range. I mentioned the value of the mid-range and being a threat from all over the floor for our 2 previous Thunder players, and Williams has showcased that same ability this season, shooting a great percentage from the mid-range, shooting over 46%, and his handle as well as his threat to drive help set up the shots perfectly. And he has been in a groove all season long, especially when he takes over in fourth quarters, providing so much value as an overall playmaker while SGA is on the bench, which is such a great luxury to have. Another guy who can lead your offense while your lead guy gets some rest. J-Dub was solid from 3 for his rookie season, shooting almost 36%, but this season he is over 40%, and this improvement just makes him that much more dangerous of a scorer, and a guy who can kill you from all over the court. Outside of his scoring, he can also pass the ball, demonstrating a great ability to find guys with his awareness and quick decision making, and he is yet another guy who helps his OKC offense stay flowing. Again, referring to his frame, Williams uses this to defend and sit down on the ball, and he has good hands, disrupting plays, making him a very complete player at just 22 years old. Dub was first team All Rookie last season, and he is yet another example of OKC's great drafting that has landed them in the position they are in now, and he is a dynamic scorer and seemingly a third piece that a lot of teams simply do not and will not have. These 3 are of course amazing for OKC, showcasing 3-point shooting, mid-range mastery, high-level finishing ability, defense on every level, pretty much everything you want from your players. But you don't become as good as this team is with just 3 guys. Guys like Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, and Jay Will, and others bring so much to the team. Josh Giddey has been a surprise for a lot of people and has gotten a lot of attention for his lack of flash on the court while still being able to be effective. He did not start off this season great, but has been much better as time has gone on. He's another guy that has struggled shooting the ball in his career, but is shooting much better than he ever has. From what I've seen over this last stretch of games, Giddey has shown a pretty good touch around the basket as well. He's also shown value as a passer and rebounder in his career. When Giddey is playing well, it makes the Thunder that much better. A lot of OKC fans seem to want to move on from Giddey, mainly because of his defense and some of the offensive limitations that have shown up throughout his career, which are legitimate concerns, and Giddey oftentimes makes very silly plays that make you question what he is thinking. And fans question his value on the team versus some of their other players. But if he can continue to shoot better, finish well with his floaters, and be a third playmaker for the Thunder, I believe he has a place on this team. But if OKC decides to make a move in the near future, he would probably headline a Thunder package. Lou Dort has always had a defensive reputation in the NBA, never being afraid to check some of the league's best, but over the first 4 seasons of his career, he shot just 33% from three. And if you're going to be out there, you need to be able to stretch the floor. Dort is now shooting over 40% from three this season. But because of his lack of a three for the bulk of his time in the league, you question if he will keep this up. Nonetheless, he has been extremely valuable for the Thunder this season on both ends. Cason Wallace is yet another player that proves this organization's eye for talent, as they traded for the 10th pick on draft night. Wallace comes out of Kentucky, as NBA guards do, and he has impressed. You know what you're going to get from Wallace nightly, and his role is pretty defined, which I think is pretty impressive considering his youth. For starters, Wallace's calling card has always been his defense, which is rare but such a valuable trait for a point guard. He competes like crazy and really gets up into offensive players on the perimeter. On the offensive side of the ball, the word is efficiency. He's shooting well over 40% from three, and he seems to be automatic from the corners. He also oftentimes is simply in the right place around the rim, another rare trait for a PG. Again, Cason Wallace is a very mature rookie, having very defined traits very early in his career, and is so valuable for this team as a role player, which I think is great to see, as many rookies understandably have trouble finding their role. Other role players include guys like Isaiah Joe, who is a player a lot of 76ers fans wanted to see more of in his time in Philly. He is a great three-point shooter, yet another Thunder over 40% accuracy. He isn't only a shooter though, as I think he is very active overall, offensively and defensively. Aaron Wiggins is shooting almost 50% on threes and is yet another valuable piece a lot of Thunder fans want to see more of in rotations. And in addition to his shooting, he provides a lot of value as a cutter and just overall brings energy. Jalen Williams, or J-Will, is a backup big for the Thunder, who they drafted out of the second round in 2022. He doesn't play a lot of minutes, but when he is out there, his presence as a competitor is definitely felt by his and the other team. Kenrich Williams is shooting well over 40% from three. Yeah, another Thunder player lighting it up. And he is a guy you can put into immediately energize your squad, as he is very active all over the court. Micic provides value as a playmaker, and he's another ball handler, and we saw his value straight away in a game like last night, where it's SGA and four guys out there that can't really create their own shots, and they struggled. Micic comes in and immediately helps them break the zone and helps them convert. The Thunder have a number of young players like Trey Mann that don't get minutes but have shown potential. Overall, this team is amazing. The Oklahoma City Thunder have shown a lot of teams the correct way to rebuild. The trade sending out Paul George for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander turned out to be an amazing one, as I think it is safe to say SGA has panned out pretty well at just 25 years old, and he's only going to get better. Drafting guys like Chet, J-Dub, Wallace, and others have shown this team's scouting abilities, and correctly utilizing the draft is such an important part of a rebuild, but one so many teams fail at. And this organization's success in this area is one of the things that has catapulted them into top rankings. This team is not perfect, however. They are near the bottom of the league in rebounds, which killed them in their recent loss to Brooklyn, for example. One they definitely should not lose, and this problem won't just go away. J-Will provides some size off the bench, but even he is a bit undersized for a 5. Signing another big body could be a focus going forward. Over some of their last games, their defense has also been a lot worse, and they need to lock back in on this end in the first halves and continue to be one of the best teams in the league. But overall, I love this team. Like I said in the beginning of the video, they have forced me to pay attention, and I'm so glad I've started to. And they've quickly become one of my favorite teams to watch and have been number one as of late. They play for each other on both ends, and I'm curious to see how they fare in the playoffs. But what do you think? How good are these Thunder? Is SGA the MVP? Is Chet the Rookie of the Year? How much do you love J-Dub? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Rashad with Hoops Times 2. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.